Alright, sorry, I'm pressing all the buttons a little bit late on that screen there. One sec, guys. Alright, without further ado, we get into this match. It is the semifinals. It's game number 2, and of course, down 1 in the series, spawning in the top. Whoa, I don't even Ventrilo open. Top left corner of the map. Just can't do anything right today. It is from My Insanity, the Red Terran Jjakji. Of course, there's his Twitter. Go follow this guy. His opponent, though, in the lower right. Been on the team a little bit longer, but that doesn't really mean anything because they are both total bros from what I understand. Hang out in the My Insanity house from My Insanity as well. The Teal Protoss, Stardust. His Twitter is slightly different, but at Stardust SC2. So of course you can, should, and must follow these guys if you want to keep up to date with what they're doing, where they're playing, and how they are handling things. Actually, kind of a really cool photo tweeted earlier today, but I think it was Zervas. I want to see it was Zervas. I could be wrong. I kind of glanced at it Twitter earlier, yesterday, of them just like hanging out in like what looked like the mountain Alps or something. It was just a really snowy picture, I remember. But you know, Jjakji, Stardust, and all them, totally cool in that house together, and I really like that. But you know, getting into this game, coming off of that series, Jjakji perhaps felt he had won that match. Not exactly fun to like knock down your opponent's Nexus, almost kill a third. Well, actually, he did kill a third and almost kill a natural, but still end up losing it in the end. Some people in chat saying it was overcommitting. Some people saying it was stupid to sacrifice in the main. I think what Jjakji did was the right moves, but Stardust just had a way better reaction, and he just. I talked about it a little bit in the early part of the game. Jjakji's production, it was like from a build order point of view, it was perfect, but it wasn't enough to deal with what Stardust had coming. Much earlier command center, by the way, go for CC first here on a 4-player map. It's perfectly fine in standard, especially when you got this fog of war acting as a bit of a guise. You know that Stardust will not be coming at you with like a 2-gate proxy or anything so silly, because that's how the spawns work. Fantastic, cool. Although I guess Stardust could probably walk across the house, go to Jjakji's computer, and be like, "Oh, that's where you spawn," and send the promo. But we're not gonna have any of those sort of shenanigans. Although that is actually something worth noting. You guys, of course, might know Penguin from My Insanity is a caster within the team house as well, lives there. And one concern about casting that he puts foremost before anything else is, first off, everyone in the team house are good guys. Their manner, etc. My Insanity is a really cool team, and I've known them for a long time. And one thing they're always concerned about is, like, Penguin will opt out of casting Jjakji and Stardust sometimes. Not always, but, like, if he's there, he doesn't want to be shouting about a build and giving it away to the teammates. So I think that's actually kind of cool and classy, and I don't think a lot of people take that in consideration. But like everybody in My Insanity is either super nice, super manner, or super good at StarCraft 2. Like one of the three, if not all three. But we talked a bit about earlier today. I haven't got to see it quite yet. Blink All In's really strong on Frost. And against the player who went command center first, your production is going to be lacking for a little bit. Jjakji opted to play gasless for now, of course, with these extra 3 racks. Oh no. Oh, Kildor. Hopefully he'll be okay here. I'm gonna take this opportunity to stretch and take a drink of water. Sorry about that. Anyways, hopefully Kaldor's okay. I know he's been casting a lot of this tournament on the upper half of the brackets, and I do hope that he'll be back for more. I know a lot of people, they get like all like, oh, why would you wish that a competition has like no problems? Like, wouldn't you want someone like Kaldor to DC? And the answer is like, no. Like, we all have our StarCraft fans, and we all bring some more love to the scene, and the more people casting with a bigger audience, so much the power to them. And yeah, Kaldor's probably a much more known and better caster than me, but it's never nice to see someone like out like this. I do hope he comes back, and I do hope it's okay. And hopefully it's nothing crazy. I know he's been the target of DDoS attacks in the past, and hopefully it's not some douche giving him grief. But for now, we must bid him adieu. And if any Kaldor fans come over to watch the game from his chat, I do hope you guys will be very polite and welcome to the chat with some Ace Kates. But okay, continuing on with the game, Jjakji, of course, going for the 3 racks gasless build. When you go for an earlier expansion like this, you do need production. What you do see almost every Terran player doing at this point is preparing for oracles. And it's kind of, a lot of people still kind of complain about how the Oracle is buffed and how it's way too good, but the way I've kind of looked at it in recent days, because I was also on that same like haterade train, but it's kind of like Hellions in TVZ, right? Like if you don't build double evolution chambers and you don't have a queen ready for a wall off, and they get into your mineral line, of course you're going to lose everything. The same mentality kind of applies here. Not saying that that's right or wrong, but that's just how it works, where you expect, like you expect Hellions in TVZ, you expect Oracles in TVP. And you'll have the production ready to deal with it. He's got some Marines pushing in the middle of the map. Oracle timing is going to be passing here shortly, but of course delayed Oracles are always an option. Jjakji, until he confirms... Sorry, one sec. Until he confirms the base of Stardust, gets some scouting off, he's not going to know precisely what's coming. Stardust, however, I think is playing a little bit more paranoid. That earlier Observer is not bad, but I think he was expecting a Woodmine drop, if not just wanting to get some map vision. Either way, not bad to have this Observer out quick, but this means he's not going to be putting on the aggression himself. Jjakji wins the Watchtower fight. Something died somewhere. I think it was a problem up here, so my bad. I missed first blood, guys. But, let's see if he's going to try and get that scout I was talking about earlier off. Wants to, wow, with 1 HP, barely gets into the base. Looking for that Stargate, sees no Stargate. Going to feel a little bit safer, a little bit less paranoid about this. But, of course, there's always this part of the base. You're really gambling at this point as a Terran player. Like, do you just presume that they don't have a Stargate in any of these locations? But, you know, when you see the earlier Nexus like this, in fact, did he see the Robo? No. If he had seen the Robo, too, he would have been for sure knowing that this wouldn't be a Stargate opener. That being said, we do have the Robo Bay coming up again quite early. Stardust saying, you know what, Colossus worked pretty good in game number 2. Why fix what's not broken? So, we'll be investing in them once again. Stimpak's finish up here in a moment's time, and for Jjakji, it's going to be able to try to pull Stardust apart, right? Like, you can try and go for the death ball composition, but as we saw, you know, you can't really fight a Protoss player head on like that, especially if you're behind in supply even slightly. You get trounced upon no matter how good your control is. So, for Jjakji, you know, the greatest moves he was able to make last game, getting into the main, splitting to the third, making Stardust have to react to multiple locations at once. And that's kind of the giant attribute you have as a Terran player. That being said, Stardust is coming out with this very quickly, and he may hit at a timing that Jjakji is simply unprepared for, but Marine, a little bit antsy, sees these stalkers coming and moves around the Watchtower. Stardust has to know that that Watchtower is still under control, though. Pushing across the map like this with 3 stalkers does not make a lot of sense to me. Blink is not finished yet, and he only loses 1 stalker for now, sure, but still a bit of an awkward push to say the least. Scouting information for Stardust is actually not that great either. He's got the Observer that's been floating around for a little bit, but I think the stalkers were trying to confirm how much of what was going on at the natural due to the turret zoning out that Observer, but you know, with Marines coming across the map, one scary thing is there's an overcharge. Stardust is not going to simply fall to this initial push. But in the same regard, it's not really Jjakji's goal to kill with this push. He's just going to try and get over here, apply a bit of pressure, maybe get the overcharge, and then get on out. But Blink's finishing up in a moment's time. Thermal Lance has begun, and of course, weapon upgrades have been started here for Stardust. Sims forward a little bit, sees the Colossus though, and tries to hightail it out of there. These Marines do not have combat shields. Third base is cancelled by a single Marine. What a powerful dude this guy is. Flex those muscles, brother. This promo up here is kind of scary. Actually, it's not. Oh, this is really cool on the Jjakji. I've never seen anyone do this on Frost, but this makes a lot of sense. Pylons often warped in up here, pylons often warped in over here to warp Zealots and walk across the map, but the factory, which normally just serves as a scout anyways, has actually landed to fully wall off this bridge. Now that being said, this pylon's not going to be dealt with anytime soon. Zealot's going to chop this up, and the third command center may not even get the finish. SCVs have been brought forward a little bit. Another Marine goes down, but across the map, of course, he wants those medevacs there ASAP. A fully loaded medevac is heading towards the main. Its goal is going to be to kill probes. There's no marauders in here, so picking off buildings is kind of out of the question. Distraction tactics at the very least. Colossus has been drawn, and the fire of these units is on top of this medevac. This kind of opens the door to push into the natural base, but Overcharge should be able to hold this. Stardust, yep, pops off the Overcharge immediately and is good to go. Colossus now pushing to the front, allows the medevac to come back to the main if so he pleases, but Blink has been revealed, and medevac is just going to try and get out of there. Again, I really like this factory block. I've never seen anyone do that, but great use of the map here to deny that. Jjakji is, of course, a little bit ahead in supply, but not necessarily ahead in army value. Is technically has more supply, but a Colossus will nullify a lot of this. Ooh. Loses the Observer, so scouting information for Stardust now nil. 2 Colossus with Thermal Lance with 1-1 are definitely something to be feared, but I don't know if this is really game-ending amounts of damage coming Jjakji's way. If he fights around the choke, it's going to be a bit rough for him, of course. Third base could be forfeit. SCVs are not in a good position to defend with, and a pylon has been established on this half of the bridge. And the Viking count's not enough to deal with these Colossus too effectively either. The problem is with all these Blink Stalkers guarding for them, the Vikings will go down pretty quickly. But does decide to try and get involved with the fight. SCVs were pulled with this. If the Colossus go down, the Stalkers are going to be a joke to deal with. There's so many Marauders here. Stim, Concussive Shell, Medivacs. Not a chance here to Stardust. Loses both of his Colossus too. What a costly engagement to be this far exposed on the map. I'm not sure I understand his choice to overextend like this, but you know, his goal was to knock down that third base. He killed some SCVs, sure, but I don't know if the pull was you know, 22 workers killed, and they're both still basically on even workers. Army supplies in the gutter for Stardust. Might pick off a couple Vikings here for free. Be a really nice pick off. Yeah, 2 of them do go down. In full retreat, though, towards his natural base, there's a ring of zealots around one single Colossus. The second one's about to pop in a moment's time, but even with an overcharge, I don't believe this was enough to really stop Jjakji. He may not decide to go for the natural and instead lift off and go to the main, but even then. Yeah, Colossus just being focused down. 2 Vikings are slowly but surely chipping away at it. This might just be a little too much for our My Insanity Protoss. Zealots coming in. Second Colossus pops out a little bit too late, but more Vikings rally across the map, and not enough Blink Stalkers. Actually, about 6 of them join the army from across the middle of the map, and with this small flank, actually sends Jjakji packing. A lot of these Zealots are low, but not quite dead, and these Medivacs should go down to the Blink Stalkers. Relentless assaulting of this. A bit of an awkward trade for both players, but Jjakji, you know, he's on 3 bases as the bottom line. Stardust is not, and you know, you might have a little bit of tech upgrade going for him, 2-1 upgrades, but Jjakji, Jjakji's not even started his 2-2. He's not even thinking about his 2-2 right now. Trying to get more Vikings out, trying to get more Marauders out. If he can start getting some successful drops off, Jjakji will start running this game, but Stardust has been holding quite nicely. In situations where it just looks like it should have been perhaps a devastating blow, he manages to pull out. And I'm not just talking about this series, guys. Like every map we've cast of him today, Stardust has been in dire situations and still managed to pull through. Sorry, Jjakji, guys, I'm sick. I'm trying not to say Jjakji. I know I was saying that a bit earlier, or Chachi. It is Jjakji with a Jak sound in there. I am just incredibly sick today. But okay, Stardust. Let's reevaluate. He doesn't have Storm quite available just yet, but he does have Templar out. We got the Armory on the way here, so Jjakji is finally going to start investing in some weapon upgrades, I imagine. I do personally like watching players go for the armor upgrades on the Vikings, as they do benefit the Medivacs as well, but of course, you know, it's that contemplation of like, is it better to get 1 extra shot off, or is it better to do more damage per shot with the Vikings against the Colossus? Feedback goes down immediately, and this drop needs to be picked up. Loses a single Marine for it, but you know, starts running around the base a little bit. Even forces out an overcharge. Going to cost him the whole medevac. That's a little unfortunate. But 2 units do get out and go start working on these probes. 3 of them do go down. Meanwhile, third base is going to be under assault here in just a second's time. And Jjakji's biggest thing, again, his economy has been roaring compared to that of Stardust. If Stardust can establish this third base, he's got upgrades on his favor. He's got the fact that Colossus do AoE on his favor. And he'll, of course, have Storm in a moment's time. But the Vikings pushing forward once again. There's too many of them and not enough Colossus. Storms are actually done now. This could actually force Jjakji to kite a little bit here. But, you know, the Storms are not that numerous. Zealots, of course, quite strong with level 2 armor upgrades. Do charge forward. No Guardian Shields has been thrown down. Jjakji is taking some very nice dance lessons at some point because he's avoiding many of these Storms. This one Viking with 1 HP for the win has got a kill on it. That was probably the Colossus from earlier. Sorry, I'm trying my best not to cough in the mic. Double medevacs loaded up. This is going to be what he really needs, because Stardust's army is forced to death ball. He cannot split because he doesn't know how much he needs to split. You know, 5 Zealots might eventually clean up a drop, but it won't stop before it does a lot of damage. Same kind of goes for the main fight here. If he pulls any of his Templar back, he needs every single Storm available. Nicely picks off 2 medevacs for free, though. This is the kind of move that Stardust needs. But dropping here towards the main, there's no overcharge available. There's actually not that many probes left to kill, ironically enough, but could go for the gateways if he depowers them, gets rid of any sort of reinforcements. No Colossus in sight, so these Vikings, you know, he's a little bit tentative to land. A small counterattack going off on the other side of the map. That warp in, of course, forces us to go all the way around. Again, this factory, a really cool time saver, I guess. Big fight in other maps still happening here on the southern part in Stardust home base, but Jjakji still has not lost many units to this. He's been dancing around the Storms quite nicely, picking off Templar here or there. Doesn't quite get that one. Forces out the Archon Merge. 3 more Storms coming his way, though. He's got to be careful. Splits up his units perhaps a little bit too late. Still eats a lot of the Storm damage, and the medevacs are almost out of energy, and the medevacs are almost completely depleted, actually, in their existence. Only 3 of them remain, and with not a lot of energy available. Stim Pack alone is hard enough to heal, much less Storms. Lots of Marauders are simply not going to cut it. He's going to need to fall back till he gets some Ghosts. Dropship for the main, or medevac for the main, going to be pulled back. How many workers were killed while this was going on? 22, so a bit of a hecking chaos going on. Was it 29 earlier, or 28? Yeah, so still no SCVs killed here at the third base of Jjakji, but of course this Warp Prism forces Zealots to go all the way around, and that buys Jjakji so much time. I can't give enough credit to how cool this factory land was, but still paying off here in the late game. Now reinvesting in medevacs, no more so much into Vikings, who's got weapon upgrades on the way too, which are going to be really nice again for if Colossus come out, but that's a big if. We got one coming out right now, but we don't exactly see a double Robo Bay going down. We don't see a double, Robo Facility going down. We're not going to have 2 Colossus of production at a time, but instead investing in the Dark Shrine. You know, it's the Day 9 saying, and it's kind of annoying. We've all heard it before, win behind Dark Shrine, but the reality is, in this sort of situation, you know, the Zealots are doing enough, even despite the fact that they take forever to walk around. If you get a Dark Shrine up, you get some Dark Templar across the map, more power to you. Medevac drop was completely averted, and I need to once again take a small moment here to blow my nose. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, okay, anyways, still focusing on here on the game. We got the medevacs do need to unload or repair them. One medevac is so dangerously low, it's quite scary, actually. Armor for Stardust is actually on almost 3-3 upgrades. He's on 2-3 at the moment, with 3 being the armor upgrades, weapon upgrades to be done shortly. Ghosts are finally out for Jjakji. I don't know how much this is going to pay off, though. So, to explain real quick, EMPs are great. Like, even if there's no Templar to snipe and no Storms to worry about, EMPing the Zealots essentially strips off that 50 shields. It's like a 50 damage AoE. It's quite nice. But of course, your goal is to snipe the Templar if you can, or more importantly, EMP the Archons, depending on what the engagement path looks like. Jjakji, by the way, who has sniped off every single Observer in every single series leading up to this one, or every game, has not managed to get the one most critical one that was watching his army for the longest time. Ghost damage innately alone is going to be quite nice too. Zealots actually walking through their own storm. Oh man, too often do we see that happen in StarCraft 2. A couple snipes do go off on these ghosts, but a blink forward might try and shut them down. Ghosts, of course, have a huge health pool for light units, and I believe 100, right? They might be the highest health pool light units in the game. I could be mistaken on that. As far as ground units go, sorry, I'm not referring to air units, of course. As Banshees, I think, have 135, I want to say. Considered light units. Anyways, not the point. Still moving forward here with these ghosts in the front lines. EMPs do need to go down. If he loses these carelessly, it could cost him the game. Like, these ghosts are his lifeline. There's no cloak behind this. It's on the way. Nice snipes do go off. No storms coming down. It looks like EMPs are all that are left to be needed. Zealots are EMP'd immediately, and he needs to back away from these Colossus. The Vikings do not exist because he reinvested in medevacs, so still kiting around. Archon Blast could take out so many medevacs, but focus on this bio like a snake chasing after like its prey. Slithers across the map slowly with this giant Protoss death ball. Jjakji's reinforcements, will they be enough? There's some Vikings here, but he's gotta hold on till he's got more. With the Zealots dwindling and the meat shield essentially expired, Stardust does decide to disengage off of this. Both players on 3 bases, but Stardust trying to establish his 4th. It is up but not running. Main base, of course, was cleaned out earlier, so he doesn't have probes to transfer there, unfortunately, but he's got the option to keep his economy going. He's now investing in the shield, something that you don't often see, but hey, you know, if you could do it, go for it. Up on 3-3 at the moment. Jjakji coming up with level 3 weapons within a moment's time. Finally gets rid of that pesky observer and starts moving the orbital from, I believe, the main? Yeah, orbital from the main towards that 4th base location. Because, of course, yes, there's still gas here to mine, but as a Terran player going bio, gas is not your concern. Even with Ghosts, even with Vikings, you're going to be a little bit more mineral-starved than anything else. Now, there is this kind of pent ultimate composition. You know, battlecruisers are cool, Thors are great, they're these big tier 4 units, but realistically, it's Ghosts and Vikings that are so strong, so scary. Like, Empire Happy pretty much is, I don't think he's the guy who invented it, but he really made it his own style, and it's so incredibly deadly. With the low observer count that Stardust has had all game, of constantly picking them off, constantly sniping them away, Cloak Ghost could win this game. Ghosts, of course, they hit pretty hard, even against non-light units. They get the bonus versus light. I think it's like base 25 or something. Where's the Ghost here? Oh, sorry, yeah, base 24, or base 12, 24 with level 2 upgrades. So I was close in guessing. Either way, punches a hole through this, and they got a pretty fast attack speed. And again, that health pool lets them eat some storms, take on the Archon Blast, a Colossus Beam or 2, but EMP is still going to be the strongest thing in this army. Cloak, definitely the second strongest thing he'll have available to him. Pylon Block, a little bit of a cute move there, and some Dark Templar finally warp in. I was wondering when we'd see these start getting involved, because of course, Stardust did make that Dark Shrine almost what feels like forever ago. Jjakji does not have an abundance of orbitals either. Sometimes at this point in the game, if the plays really far ahead, you'll see like 9 command centers down to be made into orbitals, but you know, unfortunately not this case. Oh, someone in the chat did correct me. Hellbats, I forgot Hellbats are light units. And they do have 135 health, so thank you for that correction. Cleans up the Dark Templar though, one going towards the main even gets picked off too, so no real danger, no imminent threats. I still see you guys making fun of my Jjakji. I'm sorry guys, I'm trying so hard. Like I've got a completely stuffed up nose and I'm fighting it off best I can for you. But 14 Vikings, 14 medevacs. The air dominance certainly not out of question. We got some. Okay, this is great out of Stardust. Cannons coming down look a little bit funny. They look a little bit out of place, but these are for detection more than anything else. And oh, snipes, EMPs galore. A couple storms go down out of desperation, but Stardust trying to wrap around this army and to go for that 4th base, recognizing that the economy of his opponent might be a little bit more desperate than perhaps anticipated. Unfortunately, this leaves the Colossus very exposed as the Zealot train leaves the army behind. Stardust is going to lose every single Colossus. There's no Blink Stalkers to guard against this. Chasing down here quite diligently. Oh, this is going to be nasty. We got a storm lined up and ready to go. Will the storm even be enough? Even if he loses all these Vikings, he just picked off 4 Colossus for free. This base may be forfeit. That extra command center probably wanted to be a planetary fortress, but moving into his opponent's 4th base, Mothership Core dies. No photon overcharge, no time warp goes down, and pushing here into the 4th. Stardust with some beautiful storms lined up and ready to go, but snipes going off left and right. Pew, pew, pew. As the Archons go down, there's a couple Templar behind this with some more storms ready to go, but no Colossus. And behind this, these are the last 2. If he kills these, then he'll be able to run over Stardust, but Stardust should be able to hold on to this, albeit just barely. Looks like the 4 Marauders, though, and these ghosts will be the determining factor. This was such a scrappy fight, and as you can see, even the ghosts getting away with no health, dropping on top of the Colossus, only to, oh, well, who wins this fight? I don't even know. The ghost with micro wins that fight, apparently, guys. It was a really cool move to see. 63 SCVs killed. This base gutted, but that's okay. There's Cloak Ghost to defend with, and as we see, even without EMPs, Ghosts just punch a hole through these Zealots. Marauders should be able to defend. 4th base did not go down, sadly, though. Jjakji did not cause the economic damage he really needed to. Yes, he took out the army, but Stardust is going to remake that on 4 base economy. Well, I guess it's actually 2 base economy, but 4 bases in total. He is not suffering. We got the double Robo Bay down. I mean, sorry, Robo Facility. I always mix those 2 up. But with the double Robo Facility pumping Colossus, Jjakji does not have the economy, nor the gas count, more importantly. Or sorry, not gas count, sorry, mineral count. He's got plenty of gas to remake those Vikings right now. Still focusing a lot on the Ghosts, getting Marauders out. A little bit of a desperate game, and I need to remind you guys, in game number 2 here, if Jjakji loses, then he is out, and Stardust will go to the finals. So this is everything on the line for him to hold this counterattack, and I don't think, good game, that's going to be it. So Jjakji, unfortunately, will place 3rd or 4th. I don't know if an actual 4th place match gets played, but, you know, that's $50 for Jjakji. Sorry, let me swap to the out-of-game screen. That's $50 for Jjakji. He takes either 3rd or 4th and some energy drinks. But I think My Insanity is like sort of sponsored by Monster. They've got their own energy drink. I don't know how that really works, getting the EnerJ cans, but man, okay.